Hey everybody, thanks for coming to this panel on perishables, pressures and progress. We'll talk about automation resilience in the grocery supply chain with AI and automation. I guess we'll go by and do introductions really quickly.
Yeah, sure.
You want to? Yeah.
So hi everyone, I'm Karli Sage from Southern Glazer's Wine and Spirits. So we are the largest distribution company of wine and spirits, over 20,000 SKUs, 47 states. So anything you're drinking tonight, we most likely supplied. Yeah.
All right. I'm Bill Monk. I'm with GNC. We have General Nutrition Centers, the vitamin supplement company. We have distribution center in Indianapolis, Indiana, that we service the world from. We have just over 2,000 retail stores. We service 50 countries internationally, and then we also have about 26 domestic wholesale partners that we do business with as well from that facility.
So to get us started, can you briefly describe your role and how does SKU complexity show up in your day-to-day operations?
Yes, well, so 20,000 SKUs, right? That's a ton to manage. All of our warehouses on average have about 13,000 SKUs. So it's a lot. I think when you talk about SKUs, a lot of that is really what you find in more of a manufacturing plant in terms of parts to build cars, things like that. So 13,000 SKUs on hand. A lot of them, we pick cases, we pick bottles, we rarely pick full pallets, but to know that we have an entire warehouse full of racking that could be at any size, full pallet, partial pallet, some open bottles within that, managing that is huge.
Yeah, for GNC, we have, we service, I support the supply chain, both from an engineering, distribution, transportation standpoint. We have about 3,000 SKUs total across the different modes of selling that we have. There is an international line, domestic line, wholesale lines, all of those things that we're doing, but a lot of those can carry over from one to the other. We do roughly around 65% of our picking by the each. So a bottle, not necessarily a bar, but a pack of 12. We do case pick, and we will do some full pallet picks for our wholesale partners. But in most cases, when it's going to our retail stores, if you're familiar with a GNC, they're about 1,100 square feet. And so you can't take a large amount of cases to them. And so we're doing a lot of each picking and or interpack picking for them.
So to talk a little bit about inventory accuracy and the challenges of inventory accuracy, how does inventory accuracy become a meaningful business risk in your operation?
Do you want to go first on this one?
Sure. Yeah, from a GNC standpoint, it's impacting the customer at the end of the day. We have an unwritten rule that you don't have non-ships, which means the system says you have it. We need to find it. And so we do not want to say that we don't want to sell something that we can't deliver. And that's really what it comes down to is if our store retail customer wants it, we want it to be there on that shelf at some point. And if we say we have it in our warehouse, we want to be able to put it on our truck to get it delivered.
Yeah, I mean, so inventory accuracy from my standpoint, very similar. We want all of our customers to have something on time in full, right? That's what everyone strives to have. On our end, some of our larger warehouses can carry over $4 million worth of inventory at any one point in time. That's a ton. For anything to go missing, our product is expensive. I looked it up last night. We carry an Aston Martin covered whiskey or bourbon or something like that. I'm thinking, who would buy that? Actually, I would buy that. But that single bottle is $40,000, right? So it's a ton of money that we're talking about. So inventory accuracy for us is huge in terms of what do we have on site and what do we need to write off because we weren't managing our inventory correctly. To say that we haven't experienced in the past major write-offs because we haven't been managing our inventory correctly is not uncommon, but it's something we're striving to avoid for the future.
How important are traceability and auditability for your day-to-day operations?
I mean, our customer will always tell us when we're missing something. So it's very important to them. They are our final auditors. We do track inventory as it moves through the building, but not in emerging kind of way. We, similar to Bill here, we have product that does go missing. It goes onto a ghost LPN. We call it an orphan. It's terrible, but it is what it is, and we can't find it, right? So it falls into our write-offs. But tracking of inventory, I've seen a lot of technology out there these last couple of days that would help with that. Corvus, especially with your new announcement of your camera on your forklift. So things like that will really help us and piece together what's missing.
Yeah, at GNC, we obviously, we have lot, expiration, and SKU that we're managing through it, and also manufacturer. We may have two different manufacturers making the exact same item that has the exact same barcode on it, and the only way that we know the difference is based off the manufacturing code. And so we track lot and expiration through the entire process. Through our distribution center. Once it leaves the distribution center, we know which day it shipped and the stores that we serviced, but we do not necessarily know which store that it may have went to. And anytime we have a recall, we have to put out a recall notification to our stores, to our consumers for those products, even if they're not the ones that we've manufactured, but the ones that we've sold. We track it all the way through until it gets on the truck, and then at that point, we just use the broader recall standpoint. And so traceability, trackability, it's extremely important for us in our operation from a consumer safety standpoint.
So talk a little bit about the automation journey for inventory. Can you describe, how the team was tracking inventory before automation, and then what type of automation you used, what it looked like afterward?
Yes, I'm embarrassed to say that we maybe weren't tracking inventory before Corvus. We did cycle counts. We tried our hardest to cycle count our entire building every 90 days, and it's very, very difficult. And some warehouses did it, some warehouses did not. But it's a part of our auditing process to do the best that we can, everything within our control to make that happen. So we also used, reports from our warehouse management system to kind of let us know where product was sitting, but it was never as accurate as what we're seeing now. And we've I don't want to say we're dumbfounded with all of the insights that we've come across with the better inventory tracking systems, and we're kind of pinching ourselves as to why didn't we do this before. A lot of it, we still have some sites out there that don't have Corvus in them yet, but will shortly, are on pen and paper. It still exists out there in some warehouses, and those that were advanced were using handhelds. So we've stepped up our game a lot, and we're very excited about it.
Yeah, at GNC, it was very similar. We were mainly doing cycle counts. In our Indianapolis facility, we have done a physical inventory in that building one time, about a year after it opened. And since then, we've done cycle counts. We were doing one cycle count a year for the entire building, every location. Then we went to 4 times a year. Then we went to 12 times a year. Now we're doing it, a minimum of, about 1.5 times a month with the Corvus drone systems. And as we continue we're going to add a 4th drone into our facility, which will allow us to do even more. We count roughly around 36 to 37,000 pallets every month in our operation. We have 22,000 pallet locations, so we're going through it more than one time each month with the current drones, but we want to continue to drive that. Unfortunately, with human interaction and human mistakes, people still have a tendency to lose things. And so the drone system has helped us find a number of different things that we weren't thinking about. We wanted to go out, cycle count the location, find it. We're finding products that are one in the wrong spot, product that's not there, but we're also finding ones where people made a mistake. And so first, the one story that I like to tell is that somebody came to us and said, the drone's not working. It says there's 600 boxes in this location. Look at the picture. There's only 6. Or 60, I'm sorry, 60. And then we realized that somebody fat-fingered or didn't hit enough keys on the dimensions of the boxes. And so the drone told us what the calculation was. The picture showed us what it was and what the system thought it was. But because there was bad data, we were getting bad information. Mm-hmm. And so it's finding those things out there that we normally wouldn't find or somebody wouldn't report because the drone has the ownership of it, right? It doesn't have it doesn't care whether it's right or wrong. It just wants to report the news and tell you what it's about. And that's the things that we're finding that's helping us tremendously with this.
We also had those same errors. So bad data in, bad data out, good data in, good data out. Take the time up front to clean up your master data. I will highly recommend that. It will speed up your deployment process.
What are some of the downstream effects when you are able to now scan inventory substantially more, more frequent throughout the year? How does that impact your operations?
Downstream for us, so Bill kind of mentioned you've been able to find pallets in the wrong location, whatnot, and so forth. So we've actually found pallets that have gone missing. They grew legs before, ended up on the other side of the warehouse. So that's actually helped us a lot. In terms of inventory accuracy, it does help us downstream with our customers for getting the right product to them at the right times. And then as we use the Corvus drones for cycle counting a lot of our reserve locations and then future some of our hand stack locations, which will be huge. The individuals that used to do that, they still do every once in a while to go in for something that's extremely high value or has to have a person kind of intervene. But we have started using their time to support salvage, so reintroduction of product into our warehouses for resale, as well as our pick mod counting. So where we do our pick mods is everything that goes to our customers. And that is the most critical counting area, and we've never had enough time to cycle count that. And it's because it goes back to humans. We do make mistakes, we do make errors. If the wrong product is in the wrong location in the reserves and you replenish it to the pick mods, then you're going to ship that wrong product, because the gentlemen and then the women that are out there picking, they have one job. I'm picking my cases, I'm meeting my quota for tonight, and I'm getting out of here. And so we need to do our job as leaders and as those that are running the facilities to make sure that we're equipping them with the right materials and the right tools and the right product to do their job successfully. So the downstream effects for us have been very positive on the customers because we've been able to spend time having those folks spend more time doing high value added counting.
Very similar. We repurpose the labor that we've been able to save into other more customer-centric positions. We've also allowed us to only have to do that job once. If I send somebody out to a location for 6 cases, I want those 6 cases to be there. And if they go there and it's not there, then now what, right? Now it's creating work. We don't like to create work for our people. We like to minimize that workload and make them the most efficient as possible. And that inventory accuracy drives that. There's nothing more frustrating for a new person to go to a location and it's telling you to get a certain number and it's not there. And then they have to figure out, well, now what do I do? How do I skip that pick? How do I short pick it? What are those things that are out there? They all have to learn those things, but if they go there and it's right and they can complete their job, it makes them that much more efficient, and then ultimately allows them to earn incentives and let the building win at the end of the day.
I will say too, the Corvus interface, it does allow you to look up by SKU, by LPN, by product type, names, things like that. So that has helped us when we're trying to track something down. We go there and the pallet's not there. It's like, oh, great. Now, instead of spending 5 or 6 hours looking for that pallet by auditing the entire warehouse, we can put in keywords and LPNs or SKU numbers and things like that. And it will show me all the locations that item has come up. So then we can narrow our search down. So not to say that problems are solvable and that's okay. It's a Band-Aid, right? We're fixing it, but it's nice to have a solution that does fix the problem, but also provide you that ability to go back and trace your steps.
The other thing is, I'll call out, is that, cycle counting isn't a real rewarding job, right? It's very monotonous, and it's something that, again, you need a special person to do them. And we even go out and we have our auditors audit the auditor, which is the drone. And so we'll go out and we'll audit the drone itself just to make sure, even though it thinks it's right, it matches our warehouse management system, we'll send somebody out there and we'll still check about 2% of the locations that it audited for us, just to make sure that the accuracy is there. But at the end of the day, they would rather be doing something different than cycle counting and doing something that's going to impact the customer more, and it allows them to be, happier employees at the end of the day.
Has better data changed how you guys make decisions in your organization? Perhaps impacts beyond inventory, or other types of decisions on planning, replenishment, customer service levels, which I think you touched on a little bit before.
Yeah, I mean, data is helpful, but we still replenish based off of demand. It does allow us, though, however, on anything inbound coming in from our suppliers directly or middle mile, we do have the ability to say, okay, this is our demand for today. We know how much inventory we have in stock, and if we need to make a hot PO hot, we can, so we can receive it in a little bit quicker. So there is that benefit to it. But data's power. Whatever you can do with that, it's good.
I like to say we want to make decisions with data versus emotion. Okay, and a lot of times, you'll hear everything's wrong, right? Well, everything's not wrong. It's or nothing's going right today. Well, what about those 100,000 boxes that we just put on that trailer? Are all those wrong, or are they or do you have a few problems over here that's again creating work for you that's more than you're normally having? And so we always use the data to drive decisions, whether it's decisions that the result of the data is the answer, right? We may not like what we see, but it's our jobs as leaders to fix that or be able to provide them with solutions that make it better to help get them through it.
Shifting a little bit to how we evaluate AI and automation. I mean, as leaders and key decision makers in your organizations, looking at these types of projects, what criteria matters the most to you in your evaluation process?
Okay, that's a big question. It needs to be practical. That's one of the biggest ones. There's a lot of folks, and you'll see it out there when you walk around. Everybody can promise you everything. The world is yours. But at the end of the day, it's really what's practical and what can we deliver first case. I mean, when we first started working with Corvus, we said, yeah, you guys you're promising us the world, but can you deliver, right? And they brought us out to a couple of customer sites, and we took some visits, and we realized, okay, they are delivering what they promised they could do. And they've worked with us day in and day out to make sure that if they couldn't deliver from day one, they're delivering now, and we couldn't have been happier. But with the technology and especially AI, it comes down to the accuracy, the affordability. That is one thing, but the practicality of it. Right now, there's no blackout warehouses out there in the United States, so we still have humans involved in some aspect of the technology. And so if it's not practical and you're not bringing in the end users to work with the technology or give you feedback on it, or you're not designing it for them, I mean, who are you really designing it for? End users, if it doesn't work for them from day one, they'll find Band-Aids. So it just makes sense to find a vendor that works for you and is practical for your environment.
Yeah, I'd agree wholeheartedly there. I mean, I think the key thing is that the practicality of it. Does it do what it's saying it's going to do? Is it making my job or my team's jobs easier? All right. Is it allowing me to repurpose labor into other areas of the operation that I don't have the opportunity to use automation on? And if those answers are yes, then we want to look at it. We have been very fortunate in our Indianapolis operation to be able to, roll out different automations, different types of programs and process improvements that's allowed us to take the business to a new level when it comes to the distribution side of the business. It's allowing us to use less people in that operation and put them in more, again, customer-centric touch points that matter. We want people to want to come to work every day, right? But at the end of the day, it is work. And we want to make it rewarding for them. We want them to be able to prosper. But we also want them to understand that there is an expectation that comes with that, whether it's through accuracy, through productivity, through the quality side of the business. And if that happens, they all can win. And inventory accuracy is the I'll say the foundation to that allows that to happen.
Just to kind of piggyback off that, an employee that's happy, an employee that is invested in the company and that feels that you are investing in them, to have that entrepreneurship feeling that they are helping the business grow. That's huge, and that's how you're going to get the best out of that employee. So yes, they're coming to the office or they're coming to the warehouse. They need to work, right? Nothing is just oh, we have AI, I don't have to use my brain, or I don't have to walk today. It's like, no, you still have to. But some of the things that we're doing, and I have to give credit to one of our warehouses in Texas. So we have 2 warehouses in Texas that both have Corvus drones. And the one in Katy specifically, we're repurposing the labor, and we're allowing them to do value-added tasks by counting our pick mods. But we also decided that it would be helpful, and I say we, but it's really them. They decided it'd be good to assign them a drone. And within that drone, they have various aisles that drone can cover. And it's kind of like you're the parent of this drone. So how are you going to take care of it? How are you going to make sure that drone is successful? So now every morning they walk those aisles, they pick up any loose stretch wrap, they pick up the paper. I mean, we're terrible at cutting off tails, but that will get sucked in. So you have to cut those off. They take ownership in the drone now. They make sure that they may have started to try to gamify it a little bit, I'm not sure, but they have a lot of pride in what they do, and we're allowing them to take a step into making the company better, and that's how you get better results.
We have that same issue with, we call them icicles, but the same issue. I mean, it comes down to just keeping the warehouse clean and tidy, and making sure that the drone can do what it's doing. And we have assigned aisles as well that we're going through, and people go through and make sure that the aisles that we're going to audit today are fully cleaned and ready to go.
As a part of the scaling journey, I mean, both of you guys have adopted automation in multiple facilities or in many facilities. What do you feel like becomes easier, or what do you feel like becomes more complex in that scale-up journey?
Do you want to take it first?
I will.
Okay.
I think what's becoming easier is the buy-in, right? There's always the skeptic out there that says, "Oh, that's not going to work. You could have just given me that money, and I would have done that," right? And it's really that investment that we make, the training that we put together for them, the understanding of how it's going to make their jobs easier. That's probably the first thing that we would battle. We implemented robotic arms, and we throw 15 to 22, 23, as high as 28,000 cases on the conveyors each day. And it's one of the things that when we first started with the robotic arms, they did not want them. It was like, aren't you tired of bending over 15,000 times today? Isn't it a lot sexier to say, what do you do at GNC? Well, I throw boxes on the line. Or do you say, I'm a robot operator, right? Which one sounds better? And so, at the end of the day, it's really, getting the buy-in of the people was really the hardest part. And then once they embraced it, they've been able to make it run better and better each and every time.
Yeah, buy-in's always hard. It's hard. There's no way around it. But putting yourself in that person's shoes and helping them understand that we're not actually taking their job, we're helping them do their job better. That's the biggest one to tackle. But Jackie, to answer your question about where do we go in terms of scaling and what are some of the things that we've noticed, buy-in has gotten easier. The sites are now talking to each other and, I want that next. What can I get that? And, sign me up for this month. And, okay, yeah, sure, we'll get it out to you. But the next thing is, each site thinks that they can do it best. So there is no standard process in which you manage your inventory. And so even though across the sites before, the same dilemma we had was, Louisiana does it on paper and Texas does it with RF guns, and we do it over here in Indy and somewhere else, on a different method. We start to see that as we expand. And it's good. It's coming because they're talking to each other. They're telling these sites, I tried this, and so they try that, and they, but I found a tweak that we could do that makes it better and more efficient, and I found a way to do it faster over here. But we never standardize it across the sites again. And that is on us to do a better job at that. But we have found that as we scale, some of the idiosyncrasies between the sites have grown, and getting that back to a standard is where even greater success could come.
Looking ahead at the future, I mean, the pace of AI growth is so quick. What do you think are some of the largest opportunities for AI and automation in your operations in the coming future?
AI in our operations. I want to see more with the data. We still have limited visibility to a lot of our data, and I float the idea every year about blockchain, and that's a big word, right? Of getting the information from our suppliers all the way down to our customers and then perhaps to our consumers. But that taps into a lot of different regulation approaches that maybe we can't cross those lines with wine and spirits. But in terms of with everything within the four walls and everything within middle mile, we want to have greater visibility there. So anything that we've purchased, we can have visibility of that as soon as it hits our dock. So when I talk about AI, I'm talking about making better educated decisions on how to run the supply chain wholly, so four walls and beyond, end to end. And there are many companies out there that can help us with that. I think that's going to be the next big takeaway. I think AI within robotics is great. There's definitely a cap on it, so it can only make so many decisions. It's going to be about the master data and manipulating that into a place where you can make even bigger decisions off of your standard information out there.
And for, we are using it to crunch data, look at different scenarios, and eventually our goal is to use it for predictive analytics and to be able to take that information and make business decisions quicker. From an automation standpoint, we're utilizing it with our decision making on how our robot picks things up, how it places them on the line, if it's paper, cardboard, plastic, if it's heavy, is it light. It's using all that information from the vision system to make those key decisions so that it can be the most efficient with the robot and allow our building to flow. As we continue down this journey of AI and using the tools that are out there, our goal is to actually take that and be able to create flow plans, staffing plans, all of those things based on the information that we're getting from the data.
Last question from me, and then we can see if there's any questions. There's a lot of noise about AI right now. This year, as you're walking the show floor and taking a look at what's out there, what capabilities feel truly useful for you guys today versus what do you think is a little bit early and might take a few years before it's ready?
That's tough. AI is always evolving and growing. It's hard to say what's good today because it might even be better tomorrow or next year. Who knows? The stuff, and it's a buzzword as well, but the agentic AI portion of it, of creating bots to be able to help run manual or very repetitive tasks, that is very prevalent today. And I can only see that continuing to grow as we can grow the brains of AI. So we've seen that happen and kind of evolve into more of our administrative workload, both in the warehouses as well as in the corporate side of it. Managing invoices, managing routing of invoices, helping support emails, right? I think we spend more time in front of our computers or our phones reading emails than we do actioning on them. So there's a lot of involvement there with some of the brain-fed AI tools, and I see that evolving. But, even with Corvus and even some of these, Corvus itself, they have the ability to tell you right off the bat, yeah, this is something that's based on the measurements, is not in scope or it's out of specs. We still action on it, but I see in the future Corvus being able to make those actionary decisions for us. Scary, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I think we're dipping our toe in the water with it, and we're learning more and more, and we keep testing it and testing it and testing it. I think the other part of it is we're using it to make things easier for us at the end of the day, and so. Whether it's, you use ChatGPT, Claude, or some of the others that are out there, just a simple note taker, and then it'll come back and within seconds it'll generate all the notes for a meeting. We started using it for that a lot in our supply chain area, just to make sure everybody that's there understands what the tasks are, what the takeaways are, and it presents it in a quick and easy way. We're using it to crunch data, right? That's the thing that, I hate to say I get excited about, but it does. I get excited about it because it's things that we're able to do now faster than we've ever been able to before, and we're able to present it in a way that to the business that says, this is what's best for GNC, right? Your emotion decision over here, right, that you made yesterday isn't backed by the data that we have here today. And at the end of the day, our goal as an organization is to do what's best for the business first and foremost, and be able to sell it to the business without emotion in it. and use the facts. And so it's helping us make those key decisions, present it in a way that everybody understands it, and makes it simple, right?
One thing that I get a little bit very excited about it. I mean, we have major data lakes at our Southern Glazers, and we've been able to create in-house chatbots using some of these data lakes and the programming behind it. So it's a little bit reactionary. We say, okay, why was I out of stock? Or help me with these POs that didn't get fulfilled, or what's still open out there. But it helps us make better decisions in the future. So those are the little things that we're doing to kind of bring AI in a way that supports the business and what's best for the business. Next step, it's chatbots for all of our technology or our control systems, and looking deeper and diving more into how do we do better in the future.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.